design 1, design 2, and design 3. All of these have the exact same purpose, and they do the exact same thing, and yet they look so different. Well, the more I work on the design, the more compact it gets, of course. However, there's still one thing that's very apparent, and that is the amount of junction boxes I'm using. The more compact I want a design to be, the more junction boxes I'm going to end up using. They're actually really easy to understand. If we now use a single colored wire to connect the red to the red and the green to the green, normally the blue wires would stick together, but thanks to the junction box, they act as two separate ones. You can also hammer the junction box to cause the wires to not connect in different ways. In this example, it will cause the green switch to go to the red switch and the green lamp to go to the red lamp. But this isn't really what we need. There's no point connecting one switch to another switch. Instead, we want the green switch to go to the red lamp and the red lamp to go to the green switch. So we can hammer it once more, and there you go. Green switch to red lamp, red switch to green lamp. Let's go back to the example we had at the start of the video. This is design number 1, the first one I did. You can notice how all the logic gates have quite a lot of space in between them. And I'm also not using very many junction boxes. So how does this correlate? Let's have a look at the wiring. The main issue here is the fact we can't put a red wire right next to another red wire. So we have to add these spaces in between them and then vary which color of wire we're using. This causes a lot of space in between them and is a major reason for the open spaces. Here I mostly only use junction boxes where it was absolutely necessary, without making the design a lot larger. Though I could have been using even more junction boxes to put the red wires closer to each other. Let me show you design number 2. Here you can already tell it's more compact, but there's also more junction boxes just like I mentioned. So what are these junction boxes used for? They use the fact they don't attach in different directions to lead the wires to a certain place without connecting to the other wires nearby. So then we make our way to design number 3. And this one is really weird because it looks bigger than the other ones. Well, if you remember, the other one only had 6x6 switches, while this one had 24x24. So of course you're expecting it to be larger, but is it also more compact? Yes, it is. It's actually so much more compact. I mean, it looks massive, but that's just because of the amount of switches. There's a lot of junction boxes and you might not understand what they do. So it feels like the wiring should be complex, right? Well, no, the wiring is actually really simple when you understand how it works. You can tell that all the junction boxes on the side are just filled with what looks like a semi-colored chunk of wires. But what does it do? Why is it there? Well, this is what in the wire community we like to call wire trains. Here we have one row of switches and one row of lamps. Now we want to connect the switches to the lamps. The most obvious way of connecting them is just alternating the colors, so we go red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. And even though this might work, it's by far not the most efficient thing. Now for the second test, let's try to utilize all the 4 different colors and then just have a 1 block gap in between them. And you can already tell this is a lot more compact. However, there's still that 1 block gap which we aren't utilizing. How do we get rid of it? Well, this is where junction boxes come in. For design number 3, we're able to do the same thing but cover the wires in junction boxes, meaning we can place them 1 block closer to each other. Now we can just place them wherever the 2 wires cross and we can see they all still work separately. Finally, let's try to do the same thing again but with even more switches so I can show you what I mean. We will do the exact same for this one where I put junction boxes wherever the 2 wires cross. And you can see it almost becomes a triangle. There's also an easier way to build these. Just fill an area with wires, fill the same area with junction boxes. Oh, so satisfying. And then delete a few junction boxes where you want to extrude the wires. This means I will extrude 4 from one row because there's 4 wires in that row, 4 from the next row, 4 from the next row, and 4 from the next row. Now if we go back to design number 3, we can see how all these junction boxes on the side are actually just trains. And these 2 white holes you see on the side is where we input the switches. And then we have 2 holes further down, which is where we output the input of the switches. And since we use all the 4 different colors for the horizontal and the vertical axis of the switch array, we can use the same wire trains for them, we don't need 2 different ones. You can also notice, in order to bend these trains, I've used hammered junction boxes along the corners, which lets them change from horizontal to vertical. Down here we have these gaps on the sides, which is how we extrude the wires. All of these little holes take out 4 different wire colors, and that's how we get the output of the switches further down. This video topic wasn't actually chosen by me, it was voted for in my Discord server, and if you want to participate in future videos, there's a link in the description. That's everything for me, I hope you have a good time and goodbye.